Live from Joliet Memorial Stadium in Joliet, Illinois, it's time for St. Francis men's soccer as they take on Calumet College of St. Joseph in the regular season finale. These two teams both looking for their first win of the conference season, so a big one to wrap up the schedule. Terry Bonadonna with you on the play-by-play for 90 minutes of soccer this afternoon. These two schools went head-to-head in women's soccer about 2 hours ago, and the St. Francis women's side was dominant in a 9-0 victory. St. Francis's men's team hoping that they can do more of the same here against a Calumet team that comes in with an overall record of 0-10. Saints had a good start to the season. They went 4-1 over their first 5 games. And then once they rolled into conference season in mid to late September, things kind of fell apart. They are 0-7-2 in CCAC action and have dropped their last 5 matches. So a lot on the line for them today. They don't want to go down without having won a conference game. And they certainly don't want to finish the season on a 6-game losing streak either. They've been outscored 18-1 over their last 2 games and 22-1 over their last 4 games as we are underway today. So the Saints looking to break out of their slump against a team that's not scored a goal yet this year. Calumet College of St. Joseph has been outscored 95-0 over 10 games this season. So if the Saints are going to break out of their funk, you would think today would be the opportunity to do so as they try to make an early run. Calumet in maroon, St. Francis in white and gold today. Fighting Saints going from left to right. Here in the first half, they're shooting into the south goal. Calumet going from right to left, shooting into the north goal for the opening stanza of today's game. As the Saints move the ball around defensively, let's take a look at their starters today. It's Edward Luna, Pablo Alvarez, Victor Salou as they make a little bit of a run here. Down into the box, a shot for Anthony Durka, and that's wide to the right and out of bounds. Didn't quite control it off that initial touch. I think he had more time than he realized. He probably had enough time for one more touch before taking the shot. The defense was not closing in on him, but he got the shot off quickly. He ends up missing it out of bounds. It's a goal kick for the Crimson Wave. Just underway in this game, about a minute and 20 seconds into the action. Saints try to make another push very quickly into the box. Another chance for a goal. A shot is saved this time by Samuel Sullivan. A good save by Sullivan. Anthony Durka and company have made a couple of nice runs already for the Fighting Saints. So you've met Anthony Durka, their other starters, Ender Santa Marta, Julian Soto, Jesus Flores, Tony Gia, Dominic Bariolik, and Dylan Frank. In front of the goalkeeper who touches it for the first time, that's Nicholas DeSandro. DeSandro is making his second start in the last 3 games. It's his 3rd game played overall this year. He's made 12 saves. He's allowed 12 goals. That's easy math. A .500 save percentage. An average of 8 goals allowed per game. And officially a record this year of 0-1. Here come the Saints again. Edward Luna down to the corner. Luna looking for the cross. It's deflected. Good defense from Calumet. They clear it. although not too far. Another chance for the Saints. That's Sales. Was it deflected? Yes, it was. So we'll get a corner kick. Shot from Jesus Flores there. Sailed over the crossbar, but it was tipped by Calumet. So with 42 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half, we've got our first corner kick of the game. It's Luna who sets it up down in the near corner. The kick is away in front of the net, punched into the air, loose at the back end of the box. Here come the Saints, knocked away by the Crimson Wave, and a foul called on St. Francis. Let's read through the starting lineup for Calumet St. Joseph today. They've got Jeremy Diaz, Ricardo Pinto, Tony Nuvanen, Felipe Poblete, Giovanni Ramirez Guerrero, Isaiah Damptey, Marco Jordone, Markson Jordone, Markinson Jordone, and Greg Guzman. In front of the goalkeeper, Samuel Sullivan. Before the free kick for Calumet, there is a player down tying his shoe. That's Markson Jordone. The three Jordones are going to be very difficult to tell apart today. Marco, Markson, and Markinson. Triplets from Delray, Florida. Straight down the middle of the field. It bounces a few times into the goalkeeper's box, and Nick DeSandro is there to pick it up. Samuel Sullivan is the goalkeeper for Calumet. He's a senior from the neighborhood here. He attended Joliet West High School. Hails from Joliet, Illinois. He's starting his 6th game of the year. He's made 32 saves and has allowed 41 goals, a .438 save percentage this season. On the year, Calumet has been outscored 95-0. They've allowed 187 shots on goal and have managed only 3 of them themselves. So expect St. Francis to be the aggressors in this game. They have been already. We're only 5 minutes in as offsides is called against the Fighting Saints. We just saw the St. Francis women's team take on the Calumet women's team, and that was a blowout, 9-0. The Saints outshot the Crimson Wave in that game 66-0. I don't think we're going to see anything like that here. For one thing, Calumet was shorthanded on the women's side. They only had 8 players make the trip here to Joliet. And so they were playing 3 players down the whole game. And it was actually 4 players down for much of the second half because of an injury before the officials finally threw in the towel after 70 minutes, called it a game. This game should be different in part because Calumet does have a full 11-man squad. They don't have any reserves, but they do have enough to field a starting lineup. So it's even Steven, 11 versus 11 here. Dominic Bariolik over on the far side. Sent in front of the net at the edge of the box. A few touches from Flores, trying to free himself up. He's tripped. And no whistle as play goes on. Saints fans wanted a penalty called, which would have created a penalty kick for the Saints. There's a good cross from Luna, but offsides is the call. So no save for Sullivan. So aside from the fact that this is 11 on 11, not 11 on 7 or 8, the other reason this game should be a little bit different than the earlier one we saw is that the Calumet men's team has played much better defense this year than the women's team has. Neither team is particularly aggressive offensively, both under the same head coach, Emilio Calvillo, in his first season with the Crimson Wave. But while neither team plays much offense, the women's side had only taken 5 shots on goal all year. The men's side has only taken 3 shots on goal all year. The men's team doesn't give up nearly as many shots. So they're able to control the game in the midfield at least a little bit. In fact, they've got it right here on a throw-in. In that women's game we saw, Calumet did not have a single touch, I don't think, beyond midfield. That's already not been the case in this game. 37:40 to play, first half. Offsides again against St. Francis. A lot of offsides calls early in this game. Shots on goal this year, 187 to 3. Total shots, 311 to 11. So it's one thing to only have 3 shots on goal. You haven't generated much offense this year. We get it. But to only have taken 11 shots all year, you can take a shot from anywhere. They could take a shot right here. It's probably not going to get anywhere close to the net. It didn't get close to the net. It wasn't a shot either, as it's headed away by Pablo Alvarez. Alvarez is one of 11 seniors honored before the game today on Senior Day at St. Francis. Fighting Saints trying to make a run right here. Here's another one of their seniors. Dominic Bariolik trying to cross it, but it's deflected out of bounds by the Crimson Wave. 36.5 minutes to play in the first half. Throw in for Victor Salou. Durka passes it back to Salou, who goes further back to Jesus Flores. Rolling around to the near side now. It's Julian Soto. Soto, the freshman, looks to center it. He's trying to get Tony Gia. Didn't have him. Calumet looking for the clearance. They just can't get it away. Saints have intercepted a few of their passes. Now they take it away off of a tackle. Salou to his left. Bariolik into Flores. Tapped right back outside. Durka. Anthony Durka will try to make something happen, but he doesn't. It's taken off of his foot instead. Stolen by Calumet. As a whistle blows, a foul is called on Durka trying to create some space. He shoved Greg Guzman to the ground. No score yet. We're just about 10 minutes into the action. Both teams searching for their first win of conference season in their last game of the conference season. St. Francis, though, does have a couple of points. They've tied twice. Not in 4 weeks, though. October 5th was the last time they got a result. Since then, it's been nothing but losses, and for the most part, blowout losses. Here comes a run from Gia, but Samuel Sullivan steps in and kicks it away down the sideline. During their current 5-match losing streak, the Saints have not finished within 1 goal in any game. All 5 losses have been by 2 or more. Sent in front of the net. Sullivan tries to dive on top of it. He can't get there, but he at least knocked Gia off his path enough that he was not able to get a clean shot. So it's out of bounds for a corner kick, and the Saints will try it again here. 34 minutes to play in the half. Kick comes in, back post, it's headed in, and St. Francis takes a 1-0 lead. Off of the corner kick, the Fighting Saints strike first, and it's 1-0. 12th minute of play here in Joliet. St. Francis off and running today. So they scored just their 2nd goal in their last 5 games. They'll be looking to add a few more against a team that gives up just shy of 10 goals per game. For Tony Gia, goal number 3 this year. That ties him with Dominic Bariolik for the team lead. And it came directly off the corner kick. Luna's kick was headed in by Gia. 1-0 in the 12th minute. See if St. Francis can pile on here. They haven't scored 2 goals in a game since October 5th. They can change that right here. Luna is deflected by Sullivan, and it is knocked away by Calumet. Good defense by the Crimson Wave. Saints are still on the attack, and there's a whistle. And the question is, was that in the box? I think not. Looks like they're going to give him a free kick from just outside the box as opposed to the penalty kick. So it's a free kick for Jesus Flores, trying to double the Saints' lead. They had a golden opportunity to make it 2-0 as Edward Luna made a charge to the net, but Sullivan and company made a good stop. Sullivan came out first, but he knocked the ball loose. It was still sitting right in front of the goal. Defender had to kick it away as Flores takes a shot right into the wall of Calumet and out of bounds for a corner kick. 1-0, St. Francis leads. We're approaching the 32-minute mark of the first half. Saints scored off of their last corner kick. This time it comes in a little bit higher, but it's the same result. A header straight into the back of the net, 2-0 St. Francis. They went right in front of the net last time. This time they go to the back posts, but same deal. Set up a header and drill it in. Just 2 minutes apart. The Saints turn corner kicks into goals, and they lead now 2-0. Back to midfield for Calumet to restart the play here, but how about the play of Edward Luna so far? Edward Luna has 2 assists as the designated corner kick man. He had 2 assists all year coming in, which was tied for the team lead. Now, obviously, he's got that lead by himself with 4. That last header was poked in by Anthony Durka. First goal of the season for Durka. It is the 6th goal of the career of this senior Durka. Sub for St. Francis, Miguel Zavala checks in. Two-goal lead for the Fighting Saints early. Nick DeSandro receives the pass. The Saints try to keep the goalkeeper involved. He has not faced any shots yet, has not faced any pressure. If he does, it'll be a bit of a surprise. On average this year, the Crimson Wave have taken 1 shot on goal every 3 games or so. Sullivan comes way out of the net in order to knock that ball away. He was outside the box, so he couldn't even touch it. Little slide kick, knocked it off the Fighting Saints and out of bounds. Calumet along the sideline. No foul called despite the contact. The Saints take it away. Nice work by Luna to get between 2 defenders, trying to push it off to Soto. Julian Soto tracks it into the corner and loses it out of bounds. Throw in Crimson Wave. 2-0. Fighting Saints on top. We have seen the 2 St. Francis soccer teams so far today combined to outscore Calumet 11-0. At midfield, Soto passes to his left. Saints taking their time in setting this up as they go backwards to Zavala. Pushed across midfield once again. Salou, long cross-field pass and out of the reach of any of his teammates. He was looking for Durka. Didn't quite have him. Luna was coming in from the backside of that play as well, but it was out of the reach of both of them. Tossed in Two St. Francis players there trying to take it away. Luna does get a touch on it, but it's out of bounds. Knocked loose by the Saints. Cleared by the Crimson Wave. Can they generate a little offensive attack? Not immediately anyway. Marks and Jordone touched that ball out of bounds. Dylan Frank got it moving for the Fighting Saints. Now it's Salou trying to get it through, but his through ball a little bit too speedy as it skids all the way down to the goalkeeper, and Samuel Sullivan grabs it. When he has started this year, Sullivan has made an average of about 6 saves per game, which is a big number. It's just that he faces a lot more shots than that. Sub 500 save percentage for him. Play continues, man down for St. Francis, but he pulls himself back up. That was Julian Soto trying to go to the official into calling a foul. Didn't happen. 27:30 on the clock. Saints have already scored twice. 2 goals were nearly identical, both off of corner kicks. Headed in, one by Gia, one by Durka. Calumet's able to get the ball back to their goalkeeper, but the flag was up beforehand. It is offsides on St. Francis. So a free kick for the Crimson Wave. They've had a handful of them, haven't really done anything with the extra possessions. Sun is shining on a beautiful November day here in Joliet. This game started right around 3:30, which means it will end in the light, barring overtime. Daylight savings time ends today, though, so a similarly timed game tomorrow would be played primarily in the dark. Last game of the season for these two teams, both trying to get off the schneid and get a victory. Free kick bounces a couple of times towards the back line and out of bounds. Goal kick for the Fighting Saints. They play it short and they'll take their time moving on downfield. Up by 2 goals, they don't need to be in any kind of hurry. They don't want to settle as they make a run here. Luna tracks it down. He's already got 2 assists today. Makes a cut back here, looking for his first goal, and it's saved by Sullivan as he just gets a fingertip on it to push it wide of the net. Good play by Sullivan. His best save of the day so far. Great run by Edward Luna. It just comes up a little bit too short. Now we'll get a corner kick for the Fighting Saints. This is how they've scored today. 2 goals, both on corner kicks. Let's see if Luna has anything different in store for us here. He lofts it in, back post. It's deflected away this time by Calumet. Coming in late on the play, Flores takes the shot that goes a little bit too far over the net, off the football goal posts, back out of the field. Out of bounds on the kick. It's a goal kick. Nice shot, though. Saints are really trying to take advantage of their set pieces, particularly those corner kicks, which have resulted in 2 goals and nearly a third right there, albeit in a completely different way. Not the straight header, but almost a rebound. Bounces once before midfield. Pulled in by the St. Francis defense. Zavala pushes it ahead. Flores had a little miscommunication there with whoever he was trying to pass that ball to. Not on the same page. Calumet pressured on the ball. Down to the corner, stays in bounds. Saints trying to turn it inward. They can't do it. Good defense by Calumet. 23:45 on the clock. Saints got 2 goals within 2 minutes of each other. Other than that, we've been quiet. This has not been quite as lopsided as the earlier game today, in which all of the action occurred on only one side of the field, pretty much by intention. Calumet's women's teams tried to step up their defense. There's offsides called against Pablo Alvarez. Calumet's men's team's trying to push the ball a little bit. Haven't really succeeded. They haven't gotten a shot yet, but they've at least turned the field around a couple of times, which we did not see at all in the women's game. I didn't have to turn my head at all. Just once at halftime. And just stay glued to the one side of the field. That has not been the case here, even though Calumet hasn't really been generating any scoring chances for themselves. They've at least taken a little bit of pressure off their defense on a number of occasions. They wanted an offsides call here, not getting it this time. Saints back in the box. And again, it's knocked away. Good defense from the Crimson Wave. It was quite a run there from Giovanni Ramirez Guerrero. He's the guy who was able to knock the ball free and not allow St. Francis an easy chance at goal. Around the midfield circle, Zavala passes ahead. It's Soto after receiving it from Ender Santamarta. Saints playing a little keep away right now. A lot of horizontal passing. Finally, they push it ahead into the box, and offsides is the call. That has happened more often than not in this game. When the Saints have tried to push it with a big pass downfield, they've got somebody offsides. More than halfway through this first half. We've played 23 minutes and 45 seconds. 21:15 still to go. Far sideline. Fight to keep it in bounds, and the Saints win that fight. Pushed ahead. Looking for a crosser, nobody there, and finally it's deflected away by Calumet. To the edge of the box, the Saints are again in possession, and they lose it. Soto looking for Luna and couldn't connect. Here's Flores. Intercepted. Nicely done by the Crimson Wave that time, although their ability to clear it out of harm's way has not been very good. Saints in front of the net. This is Luna taking the shot and scoring. Edward Luna's got 2 assists and tack a goal onto it as well. 4 points today. Luna makes it 3-0 St. Francis. 20 minutes and 6 seconds on the clock. And the Saints continue to add to their lead 3-0, 25 minutes into the game. First 3-goal game for St. Francis since September 24th. That was a 3-3 tie against Holy Cross. One of 2 results that they've gotten in conference play so far this season. Crimson Wave wait for the go-ahead so they can restart play after that goal scored. Ball is sent downfield in the corner, and that's out on the sideline. So it'll be a throw-in. That's good news for Calumet. I think they were planning on a goal kick. Instead, they're able to move their offense all the way downfield for what has been a rare moment today. Another throw in for the Fighting Saints, pushing it downfield bit by bit. Lobbed right along the sideline. Possession won by St. Francis and now lost by St. Francis. Saints pick up that loose ball. Cross goes through somebody's legs. Sullivan has to dive on it. Nearly lost it. Sullivan is shaken up down there. And the clock is going to stop at 19:03. According to their roster, Calumet does not have a backup goalkeeper. However, Greg Guzman, who is a starting midfielder, has played a significant amount of goalie this year. So if Sullivan is not able to continue, it'll be Guzman, one would assume. He needs the training staff to come out to look at him, so that's not a good sign for Calumet. Trying to locate Guzman on the field right now. Of course, they don't have any reserves. Guzman's already gone off to the sideline. He's not throwing his goalie shirt on just yet, but I would imagine we'll be seeing him in the net. Again, they don't have any subs, so if they do have to move Guzman from midfield to goalkeeper, it'll be an 11-on-10 advantage for St. Francis. Not a good sign down in the net. Sullivan is still down. He's being helped up a little bit into a seated position. He was lying flat, face down, a few moments ago. He came sliding in to make the play as the Saints were threatening to score for a fourth time. I think he may have just inadvertently taken a shot with or from a St. Francis boot. If that's the case, I don't know where it got him. He is upstanding on his own now, hunched over. But bit by bit, he is making his way towards the sideline. He's got a limp as he walks off. Hopefully he's all right. We'll see if he's able to continue in this one a little bit later. But for the time being, it's going to have to be Guzman in net. I don't know who else could do it. Let's see. Felipe Poblete has played 44 minutes in goal this year as well, starting forward for the team. So I guess theoretically either one of them could do it, or technically anybody else, really. If you need anybody else to do it. It is Poblete right now who's over on the sideline, not Guzman. So yeah, Poblete is grabbing a new shirt. Felix Poblete played 44 minutes in goal in one game this year. He took 9 shots, saved 3 of them, allowed the other 6 to go through. So not a great track record there, but the most important thing on his resume is that he has played goalie. Greg Guzman has actually started 5 goals in net, so I'm surprised they're not going to him. Guzman has played about as much as Samuel Sullivan has this year. 2 of them have similar stats, although Guzman's are actually a little bit better. But again, no subs for Calumet today, so losing one of their forwards and putting them in goal means they'll be playing a man down for as long as they need to, which would be as long as Samuel Sullivan's out of the game. Guzman, or rather Poblete, has thrown on a white shirt. So he is going to be in net. Sullivan is off on the sideline. He may be able to return to the game later. We'll keep an eye on him and find out. 19:02 to play in the first half. So for right now, it's 11-10. I don't know if Sullivan has played anywhere else. Wouldn't count on him doing that. I'm just trying to figure out if he is able to continue. At what point do you put him back in, and then do you move Poblete back up to forward? I would assume so. Just kind of spitballing here, trying to figure out what might be going through Emilio Calvillo's head, although he's probably not thinking too much about that right now. His team trails 3-0. They needed to put in a temporary replacement in net. They've done that. Now we'll see if they can get their offense going. It's going to be tougher without having one of their offensive players out there. Luna takes it away. Wrestled Ricardo Pinto right off that ball. Back to Poblete. He rolls the ball over to Ramirez Guerrero on the near side, and it's kicked out of bounds. Dylan Frank back in the midfield circle. To his left, Salou. Salou pressured from behind, gives it up to Bariolek. There's the cross. It's intercepted by Calumet. Saints have gotten 2 goals right in front of the net on crosses. They've both been on corner kicks, but both of them were the same. Corner kick that led to an immediate header. Just a one-touch goal. Edward Luna has 2 assists today. Santa Marta has the ball. Santa Marta right in front of the net and just out of the reach of his intended target, trying to hook up with Pablo Alvarez. Maybe just a hair out in front of him. So Poblete gets the punt. Typically a forward. Got a rare punt there. Flores tries to make a man miss. Passes instead. There's a shot just a little bit too high. From Santa Marta, who was looking for his 3rd goal of the season. That ball looked like it jumped almost as it was approaching the net. Looked like there was a chance it would go in, and it just kind of jumped last second. Oh, I got caught up in the wind or something. There's not much wind, and it's blowing the other way, so I don't think that was it. It's just a shot that had some late life to it. 16:20 on the clock. St. Francis 3, Calumet St. Joe's 0. Saints in pretty good position right here. Here comes Salou sprinting down the far side. Bariolek passes ahead to Salou. Cross is deflected and out of bounds right past the goalkeeper. Speaking of goalkeepers, Sullivan is still being administered to over on the sideline. Does not look like he's close to coming back in. So my guess would be that the best case scenario would be him coming back for the second half rather than for the final 15 minutes of the first. But we'll see. I'm not a doctor nor an expert on any of this stuff. There's a shot that's out of bounds. Once again, too high for the net. Saints go to their bench. Antoine Esparza, the freshman from Romeoville, is in. Sloppy passing from Calumet. Fighting Saints take it away. Down to the back line, there's nobody there. Not sure what the intention behind that pass was, but Poblete is the first one to get to it. We'll dribble around for a little bit before finally being forced to make a move. And there it is. Poblete put the ball on the ground, tried to clear it, but he passed it right off of a St. Francis player, and that leads to an easy goal and an open net. St. Francis makes it 4-0. Poblete is not naturally a goalkeeper. And he could have punted that one away, but I just don't think he feels comfortable doing that. So he put it on the ground instead and kicked it. But as he did so, it was deflected right off the legs of Anthony Durka. So he took possession away, and Poblete was way outside the net still after he took that kick, which left the goal wide open. And a relatively easy one for Anthony Durka. There's Nick DeSandro making a catch for St. Francis. First time he's had to put his hands on the ball today. 14 minutes to play, first half. The goal for Anthony Durka is his first this year. Right back into the box, and Poblete taps it to himself. See what he does this time if he punts it. No, he just rolled it a little bit in front of himself. He had a teammate right there. But choosing not to punt cost him a goal last time around. Made it 4-0. That's one where you could probably pretty safely suggest that if Sullivan were still in there, it'd be 3-0 right now. You never know for sure, but that's one case where a goalkeeper who's experienced in the net would have had a much easier time with it. Sullivan is sitting on the bench right now for Calumet. It's not just the fact that his absence means that you have a goalkeeper in there who's not used to playing that position, although that's obviously a big deal. So Luna takes it to the back line, and he can't save it. It's out of bounds for a goal kick. But having Poblete in the net means that he can't be out on the field. So you're playing 11 on 10 as a result of not having your goalie. So having him in there is a problem for Calumet for a number of reasons. They would prefer to have Samuel Sullivan. He's just not able to go right now. He is not on the bench anymore. I'm not going to give you second-by-second updates on him, but as I look down there, he is walking up and down the track behind the bench. He was sitting for the last couple of minutes prior to that. So I don't know if that's presaging him coming back in. So the Saints make a move into the box. Tap to the outside, Luna. Luna sizing it up, takes a dribble in towards the net, sends it in front of the net, and another goal for St. Francis, and another beautiful setup from Edward Luna, who that time passed it off to Antoine Esparza, and Esparza knocks it in to make it 5-0. What a game for Edward Luna. Picked up a couple of assists early on those corner kicks. Now he's got another one here. Luna also scored the third goal of the day for St. Francis. So he's been involved in 4 of the 5. 3 assists and a goal. Antoine Esparza has a goal now as well. That's his second of the year. So Esparza's got one. Durka has one. Luna has scored for St. Francis. Durka has scored 2. I mentioned his first goal of the year earlier, but he actually got his second goal of the year just a few moments ago. Just about 11 and a half minutes to play in the first half. St. Francis has dominated this one from the start. They're saying that Calumet stayed on sides there, so play goes on. Jordone passes off to Pinto. Pinto crosses, and nobody on the receiving end of that. Dylan Frank is able to knock it away for St. Francis. The Saints have dominated this one from the start, but it's really taken on new life after the goalkeeper left for Calumet. They're playing shorthanded, and they're playing with an inexperienced goalie in there, and Poblete has not handled the few chances that have come since he's entered. Another run for the Saints. Free path in front of the net. The defense trying to clear it. Poblete gets in there late. It's knocked out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick for St. Francis. Sent to the back post, headed by Alvarez and into the hands of Poblete. So Durka's got the 2 goals. Luna's got 1. Esparza's got 1. And the first goal of the game was scored by Tony Gia on the header off that corner kick. Saints coming in again. Another shot. This one over the net. And a chance to make it 6-0. Comes in a little bit too high. Alvarez beating himself up a little bit after not scoring on that one. They've got the 5-goal lead, though. Under 10 minutes to play in the first half. You want to score any chance you get, but already ahead by 5. Not a devastating one. Maybe it is for Alvarez personally. He has not scored yet today. He's got 2 on the season. Santa Marta was offsides. Free kick here for the Crimson Wave. Senior day here at the University of St. Francis. 11 players were honored before the game. And a lot of them have had a big impact once this game has started. Fighting Saints had lost 5 in a row entering play today. Pushed down into the far corner. Can the Saints turn this into something? Across the field. Luna will track it down. Try to keep it in play. It's knocked away from him by one of the Jordone brothers. It was Markinson. Tapped out of bounds here by the Saints. Throw in for Calumet. Markinson, Markson, and Marco. 3 Mark Jordones. Giovanni Ramirez Guerrero tried to get something rolling for Calumet. He gets it back. Looking towards the near sideline. It's intercepted. That's Julian Soto. Soto puts his leg into it. Down on the far side of the field. Tapped into the box. Calumet's defense standing strong. Saints have to run back to the far sideline. Esparza passes to Santa Marta. Santa Marta looking into the box for Alvarez. Alvarez takes the shot, and it's a diving save made by Felipe Poblete. Well, maybe he's getting a little bit more comfortable in the net. Maybe. Playing his second game in goal of the season. Poblete played almost a half, 44 minutes technically. Faced 9 shots on goal the first time he played this year. Allowed 6 of them in. Juan Jimenez takes a dribble to the left. Passes into the middle of the field, and it's taken away. Just under 7 minutes to play in the game, first half. Cross field. Jimenez. Tripped up. Whistle blows. And we got a penalty called on Calumet. So it's going to be a penalty kick for St. Francis, already ahead 5-0. And it looks like it might be Nick DeSandro who's going to take it. You've got the 5-goal lead. You're facing a reserve goalkeeper. St. Francis wants to give DeSandro a chance to get on the scoreboard. So Nicholas DeSandro, who's barely been involved in today's game because all the action's been on this side, is going to get a chance to be involved in a big way here. Clock stops at 6:27 remaining in the first half. Off the penalty committed by Calumet, DeSandro trying to add a goal, and he does. It was deflected by Poblete, but DeSandro was able to get it past him, and it's 6-0. Still the first half, 6 minutes, 27 seconds to play. So for DeSandro, first goal of the year. I haven't looked it up, but I'm going to assume first goal of his career. He is a backup goalkeeper. Hasn't gotten a lot of playing time to begin with, but when he has, it's been in net. So the chances that he's scored prior to now are unlikely, but here in his final game, he gets one in on the penalty kick. So he has now outscored Calumet. He has scored more goals than he's given up. Anytime you can say that as a goalkeeper, you've had a pretty good day. 6-0. The Saints still on the attack here as Jimenez is called for a foul. We'll go the other way with the free kick. Calumet goes short on their free kick. Ramirez Guerrero rolls it across midfield. Here's Toni Nuvanen, the senior from Finland. Nuvanen looking for help. Gets around Santa Marta and is able to pass it off. Here's Ramirez Guerrero, good little spin move. Some of the best attack we've seen today from Calumet as Greg Guzman is tripped up. He's still down. Free kick for Calumet as a foul is called on the Fighting Saints. Guzman's slow to get up, though. He's grabbing at his right foot. Clock continues to run as Guzman pulls himself to his feet and re-enters the play. Ramirez Guerrero will take the free kick. We're under 5 minutes. So he's got it all lined up, ready to go. Sends it towards the net, and DeSandro watches it go out of bounds. I'm not sure if that was intended as a shot or if it was a pass that just drifted on him, but either way, not much of a threat for St. Francis. DeSandro was able to watch it go the whole way. Julian Soto is exiting the field for St. Francis. Looks like Armani Lagunas, another freshman, is entering the contest. Saints keep the ball on the ground as they move it up in a couple of kicks to midfield. Santa Marta trying to get it ahead to Alvarez, blanketed on the play by the Calumet defense. Fight for the ball, won by St. Francis. Santa Marta pushes it ahead. There's a run into the box for Alvarez, and it's knocked off of Alvarez's foot out of bounds. Good defense from Toni Nuvanen. Another corner kick for St. Francis. They have scored 2 goals directly off of corner kicks in this game. It's Esparza sending it in. Looking for the bicycle kick. No shot there. There's a shot. And Poblete makes a really nice save on a hard hit ball. Calumet's trying to go the other way quickly, looking for the counterattack. Ricardo Pinto's pass a little bit behind its intended target. That slows them down a little bit. Guzman pushes ahead for Jordon, out of his reach and out of bounds along the sideline. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Six nothing. St. Francis leads. The women's side won 9-0 earlier today. That game was also 6-0 at halftime. This one is not. It could be, but there's time for more goals to be scored still. And the Saints have gotten them in bunches in quick succession, so I'm not going to put anything past them. Shadows creeping over the field. Most of the second half will be played in shadows. It's been bright sunlight so far as Poblete lets it roll into the box and picks it up. A little bit of a scary run there for Calumet. Ball was too far out in front of everybody for St. Francis to make a push at it. Alvarez was the closest one to it. But Poblete, rather than stepping up and kicking it, let it go into the box, and Alvarez almost got there first. He slowed down a bit. If he hadn't, who knows? He might have been able to score in a wide open net. Long range kick for Calumet. Lets DeSandro touch the ball again, but no threats for the Crimson Wave. Pushed along the sideline. Another offsides call goes against the Fighting Saints. Looking for Samuel Sullivan again on the sideline for Calumet. He is sitting back on the bench. Does not look primed to come back in. So if he can't, it'll be 11-10 for the entire second half. Clock stops with 70 seconds remaining. Looks like another injured man for Calumet. Walked off on his own, but he's not out there right now. As the ball's into the box, DeSandro lets it roll. Ricardo Pinto tried to make a play on the ball, but didn't have an opportunity to take a shot. It's 11-9 right now with Jordon out of the game. Here comes Jimenez for St. Francis, rolling it into the middle of the field. Santa Marta tapped ahead for Alvarez. Ball still loose. And the Crimson Wave are able to force it out of bounds along the sideline for a throw-in. One more chance here for the Fighting Saints before halftime. Flores all the way into the corner. Cross from him is deflected out of bounds for a corner kick. They need to operate quickly if they want to get a shot off out of this corner kick, as the clock is at 16 and counting. Esparza takes the kick. Headed away by Calumet. Backside of the play. A shot comes in, and it's wide to the right. Off the foot of Juan Jimenez, and that'll do it for the first half of play here at Busey Bank Joliet Memorial Stadium on a beautiful November Saturday afternoon. St. Francis leads Calumet College of St. Joseph 6-0. They were well in control of this one for the first 45 minutes. We'll see if they can do it for the next 45 minutes as well. 15-minute break first for halftime. I'll be back with some first half stats for you, and we'll get you the second half of action with the Saints in command. 6-0 our score at the break. It's the start of the second half here in Joliet. St. Francis leads Calumet St. Joe's by a 6-0 score. Both teams back out on the field. Good news for Calumet and for everybody, really. Samuel Sullivan is back out there playing in goal for Calumet, so they will have their usual goalkeeper. He missed the last 25 minutes or so of the first half after he went out with an injury. He made 4 saves, allowed 3 goals, and then had to sit down because that was the last 20 minutes or so of the half. They had to sit down because of an injury. They have no backup on the roster. So Felipe Poblete went in net. He allowed 3 goals, made a couple of saves as well, but it's not a natural goalkeeper. Sullivan lets this one roll back into the box where he makes the stop there. But the bigger issue, well, it looks like they're going to call this one offsides. So they'll restart play from here. But the bigger issue for Calumet than not having a goalkeeper was that they don't have any reserves. So with their goalkeeper out, they were down to only 10 players. And they lost a player to an injury in the final minute of the half, so they were down to 9 players. And so at halftime, we weren't sure what was going to happen. It could have been that neither man was able to continue, and it would be 11-9 for this whole second half. Right now, it's 11-10. The free kick comes in following the foul. Kick was taken by Tony Nuvanen. Another whistle blows right away. We're going back the other way. Stats from the first half were ugly for Calumet. 6-0 St. Francis leads the game. Total shots 25-0. Shots on goal were 12-0. Calumet has re-entered their injured players, so they're now back up to 11. So 11-11, 43 minutes to play in today's game. That's good for Calumet, but keep in mind those numbers I just read. 25 shots to none, 12 shots on goal to none, 7 corner kicks to none. A lot of that occurred when it was 11-11 in the first half as well. Saints certainly kicked it up a notch. That's out of bounds. It's going to be a goal kick before a shot. They kicked it up a notch when the goalkeeper left the game, so a lot of those numbers did come afterwards, but a lot of them came before too. Goals today, Tony Gia scored his 3rd of the year. He was the team leader, tied with Dominic Bariolik after picking up that 3rd. Right in front of the net again, there's a shot. And another goal for St. Francis. I think that is Pablo Alvarez scoring for St. Francis. Wasn't sure if the whistle had blown beforehand, but apparently not. It is a goal for the Fighting Saints. No. Are they setting up the ball? Yeah, it is 7-0, sorry. So it is 7-0. Pablo Alvarez has scored his first of the game and his 3rd goal of the season. So he ties Dominic Bariolik and Tony Gia at the top of the scorers table for St. Francis this year. Those 3 all have 3 goals. 7-0, 42 minutes to play. Saints jump back on the scoreboard right away as we start this second half. Edward Luna scored his 2nd goal of the season. Luna also had 3 assists in the first half. Anthony Durka then scored his 2nd goal of the game and 2nd of the season. Antoine Esparza scored his 2nd goal of the season. Nicholas DeSandro, that's right, DeSandro, the goalkeeper, scored 1 as well. And now we've got an 8th goal of the game for St. Francis. And that's Alvarez again. Off the assist from Bariolik, Pablo Alvarez scores 2 goals in the span of a minute Less than that, 30 seconds. (8-0), Fighting Saints on top. They've scored twice already in the second half. And we've only played 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Both goals from Alvarez, who entering the final half, and this is the final half of the season, final game of the season. And we've made it into the second half. Pablo Alvarez had 2 goals in the entire year. Now he's got 2 in the second half of the last game. So Calumet came back to full strength here in the second half after losing 2 players to injury, playing on 11-on-9 at the end of the first half. They're back to the full complement of players, and it hasn't helped them at all. Here comes Bariolik into the box. He thought he was held, and we do get a whistle here, but it is not a foul. It's offsides. 8-0 the Fighting Saints lead. They lost last Saturday 10-0 at Viterbo. 4 days before that, they fell to St. Ambrose 8-1. So this one's got to feel very good for them, as now they're able to put that on somebody else. The highest goal scoring game they had this season prior to today was their season opener way back on August 21st. They beat St. Mary of the Woods 5-2 in a non-conference game. And then after that, they scored just 12 goals over the next 13 games. And today they've got 8. And a long way still to go. Here's Salou. Salou pushes it ahead. Saints stay on sides. Durka dribbles around Sullivan, wide open net, and Durka's got his 3rd goal of the game. Four and a half minutes into the second half, and St. Francis has already scored 3 times. An incredible run for the Fighting Saints coming out of halftime. (9-0) Saints as they set the ball once again at midfield. Anthony Durka had not scored this year. He's got a hat trick today. First 2 goals of the game for the Saints came off of corner kicks. Everything since then has been in the flow of play. And they've got another chance right here again. They've gotten in behind the defense. A shot. Sullivan makes the save as he blocks it out of bounds. A big save for Samuel Sullivan on a very tough play because it looked like St. Francis was about to make it 10-0. Quick corner from the Fighting Saints. Santa Marta trying to free himself up. He trips over the ball. Here's Durka. Durka dribbling off to the left side. Alvarez tried to take a shot. That's loose in front of the net, and it's knocked away and out of bounds. Another corner kick coming up. Ninth corner kick of the game for St. Francis. It's on the far side of the field. Kick comes in, front post, and knocked away by Calumet. Here's Durka along the sideline. Cuts it back to his right. Runs into the defense. Nuvanen knocks it away. Saints get it back. Jesus Flores all the way across the field. Through the legs of Edward Luna, taken away by the Crimson Wave. Saints intercept once again. Nobody in position for that one. Isaiah Damptey was able to knock it loose for Calumet. Saints are chased back near midfield again. Sent across to Salou. Victor Salou gets around the defender, Jeremy Diaz. Now dribbles all the way into the corner. There's a shot from Salou, wide to the right side. Anders Santamarta chases it down to try to keep it in bounds, and he does. So play goes on. Damptey takes it away. Damptey over to the middle of the field. Jordone trying to make a run for Calumet. Markson Jordone is halted. Here's Durka going against Markinson Jordone. Passes off to Bariolik. Bariolik passes off to his right. Marco Jordone knocks it loose. Santamarta gets it back, pushed in front of the net for Alvarez. Nuvanin pushes it free for Calumet. It's on the side now, back into the box. Dribbled into the back line. Sullivan steps in. Ball deflected in front of the net. Cleared by Calumet. 37 minutes to play in the second half. 9-0. St. Francis has the lead. They were up by 6 at halftime. Scored 3 goals in the first 4.5 minutes of the second half. They've slowed down since then. Nothing in the last 4 minutes. It's a small bar to clear. But Calumet is at least slowing things down a little bit. Saints trying to add to their lead here, but they weren't able to get a shot off. There's a man down for Calumet, slow to get himself back up, but he is okay. That's Damptey. They can't afford to lose anybody to injury. It happened in the first half, and things fell apart for them. They were down to 11-10 for a while, 11-9 for a few moments. Clock stops here as the whistle blows. 36:05 on the clock. And the official goes over to check on the injured man, which is Damptey. They're going to call the trainer over to have a look at him, and that's, again, bad news for Calumet. No sub. So it would be back to 11-10 if Damptey is not able to continue. It's been a tough first season for Nigel Dillard, the new head coach of the University of St. Francis. Got off to a great start, 4-1 in non-conference play. Just has not been able to find success in the conference season. These are the two teams, St. Francis and Calumet St. Joe's, coming into play today that were winless in CCAC play. The only two winless teams. St. Francis is ahead of Calumet in the standings thanks to 2 ties. They do have 2 points, whereas Calumet is 0-9. But for as tough as this season may have been, it's a really good way to finish it for Nigel Dillard and the Fighting Saints, trying to go out strong. Here come the Fighting Saints, trying to add another to their lead. There's a shot and another goal. Julian Soto this time. And the Saints are in double figures. .35:48 on the clock. They scored 3 goals in the first 4.5 minutes of the second half, and then they went on a comparative dry spell. It took them all 5 minutes to get back on the board. And it's 10-0. Damptey is back on the field for Calumet, so they are at even strength. That's out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for the Fighting Saints. Still not yet 10 minutes into the second half, and the Fighting Saints have scored 4 goals after putting 6 on the board in the first half. Here's Santa Marta pushing ahead down the far sideline. Cut back to the middle of the field. A shot goes wide to the left. Anthony Durka has led the way today with 3 goals. Edward Luna has a goal and 3 assists. Here's Victor Salou. Salou right in front of the net, tapped in. And offsides is the call. So it is not 11-0 St. Francis. That one disallowed on the offsides. Free kick for Calumet. Saints have also gotten a brace from Pablo Alvarez. Alvarez, one of 11 seniors on the roster. Luna's a senior. Durka's a senior. That's 6 of 11, or 6 of 10 goals rather, from those 3 guys. Nicholas DeSandro is also a senior. He's also scored today. DeSandro is the goalkeeper, but he stepped up and scored on a penalty kick. Another chance for the Saints. Sullivan makes the save. Good play by Samuel Sullivan. It's got to be tough to be a goalkeeper in a situation like this. Calumet just cannot maintain a possession at all. So the entire game has been played right in front of Sullivan. As soon as I say that, of course, it's on the other side of the field. But a constant barrage of shots coming at you is just so hard to deal with, regardless of what your save percentage actually is. Wears you down. That's been the case in this one. This is 10-0. The case in the last game that we saw. The women's teams went head-to-head right before this. St. Francis won that game 9-0. So St. Francis has outscored Calumet in soccer today 19-0 between the 2 games. Here's a shot that just drifts wide to the left. First shot of the game from Calumet. Couldn't quite put it on goal. But a close call from Ricardo Pinto. I just mentioned between the 2 games combined, our score is 19-0. Between the 2 games combined, that is the first shot we've seen from Calumet. The women's team never got one off in a game that was called after 70 minutes because injuries had dropped the Crimson Wave down to 7 players. So they called it a little bit early. Good through ball to Durka. Durka looking for a cross in front of the net. Pass back towards Santa Marta, but not a lot on that pass. It's taken away by the Crimson Wave. Into the box, in front of the net, and another goal for Pablo Alvarez. Nope, he was offsides. Second time in the last couple of minutes that an apparent 11-goal lead for St. Francis has been waved off on the offsides call. So it remains 10-0, 31 minutes, 15 seconds to play in the game. Calumet at midfield, in control of the ball. Haven't had a lot of that today. Cherishing this possession right now, trying to turn it into an attack, but Guzman loses it. Fighting Saints take over. Now, women's game, because of how short-handed Calumet was, the whole game was played on one side of the field. It hasn't been quite as lopsided here as Jose Zaragoza retrieves it down in the corner. Zaragoza looking for a little help. Passes to Santa Marta. He takes a shot, and it sails out of bounds. That was one of the more amazing soccer matches I've ever seen, the game one of this doubleheader, because that one never really crossed midfield. The ball did go across a few times, but never with a player in tow. There were a handful of occasions in which a Calumet defender was able to clear the ball across midfield, but nobody tracked it down. Nobody chased it. They stayed on defense the whole game. This game has been played a little bit differently. Calumet has had a little bit of an attack, not much of one, but they do have their full 11 players. At least they have for the majority of the game so far. They were shorthanded for a little bit. Pretty much the whole game has been played on the offensive side for St. Francis, but there have been moments for Calumet, including this one right now, where they've been able to sustain a little bit of a possession, go on a bit of a run. Damptey, not a great touch with the left foot, taken away by the Saints, and Luna. Edward Luna's had a big game today for St. Francis. Here comes Dominic Bariolik, team's leader in goals scored this season coming into today, and one of the few guys who has not found the scoreboard today. Foul called on the Saints. Another injury as Greg Guzman is down on the ground. Clock runs down under 29 minutes. And it does continue to run here despite the injury. Guzman is okay. Gets himself to his feet. And he'll stay in the game. Ball sent deep down the middle of the field. Trying to make a move with it. Poblete loses the ball, knocked to the sideline, out of bounds. Calumet throw. Felipe Poblete has got to feel good to have the ball on this side of the field. He was in goal for a good chunk of the first half. I don't think he was terribly comfortable there. Jeremy Diaz throws it in, gets it right back from Guzman. Here's Pinto tapping it to Guzman on the right side. Along the sideline and out of bounds, this time last touched by the Crimson Wave. Just running through some of the numbers of the seniors today for St. Francis. How about Ander Santa Marta? He's got 3 assists today, hasn't scored. He's got 3 assists. Luna's got 3 assists. Those two guys combined entering play today had 11 assists in their entire careers, 4 years each. And today they've combined for 6 in less than 1 goal. Less than 1 game, not less than 1 goal. Chance for a goal here for St. Francis. Onsides, wide open into the box. One dribble around Sullivan, and he taps it in. There's the hat trick for Pablo Alvarez. Thought he had it earlier, but he was offsides. This time he was able to stay on. He makes it 11-0. 3 goals in the second half for him. 5 goals already in the second half for the Fighting Saints. We're just 18 minutes into this half of play, and they've scored 5 times. 26:56 still to play. 11-0 Fighting Saints. Today's offensive output for the Saints has matched their entire offensive output for their last 11 games combined. This one's not over yet. Here's Zaragoza passing it into the circle. Sent ahead for Santa Marta. And the offsides flag goes up. 26 minutes to play. 11-0. St. Francis has the lead. Trying to win for the first time since September 7th. They're in pretty good shape as a foul is called on the Fighting Saints. And for as good as they're looking to win this game, Calumet maybe starting to look good to score a goal. This might be their best chance of the game. That foul was committed just outside the penalty area. So this will not be a penalty kick. But it is just 20 yards out, just to the right of the center of the field. Let's see who's going to take this kick for Calumet as they try to score for the first time this year. They've got one shot today. It was only their 12th shot of the season. So put them in good position to take their second shot of the game. They have just 3 shots on goal all year. It'll be Greg Guzman taking the shot. Or at least taking the kick. I assume he's going to try to put it on goal. We'll see. He does, and he scores. And Calumet is on the board for the first time this season. 11-1 with 24:40 to play in the second half. Well, there's something in the water here in the second half. We're not even halfway through it. There have been 6 goals put on the board. Saints have scored 5. Calumet now has 1. And Greg Guzman becomes the first player for the Crimson Wave to score all year. Game number 11. Their final half of soccer all year. And they will not get shut out this season. There's not a whole lot that Nick DeSandro could have done about that. It was a very well-placed ball from Guzman. Let's see if that goal fires up the Saints any further as they come flying down the field off the initial kick, but a little bit too quickly as they lose it out of bounds. Saints intercept that kick. Here comes the shot. It's 12-1. Bruno Silva puts it in. His first goal of the game. And the Saints answer less than a minute after Calumet's first goal. Clock stops at 24:05. That was just a sloppy play that set that one up. Calumet kicked it right to Silva, an easy interception for him. And then a good shot from Silva. So Bruno Silva has his first goal this year, sophomore from Brazil. Going back to the previous goal, one scored by Calumet. Really good shot from Greg Guzman, but it was all set up by that foul. And Calumet has remained aggressive in this game. You would think with this style of play, where they are trying to push the ball downfield a little bit, usually without much success, but something fluky like that is going to happen at some point over the course of a season. It's hard unless you really can't get the ball down the field at all to go an entire 11-game season without scoring once. Because exactly of what just happened that allowed them to score. Foul, close range to the net, and if you've got just one guy who can put some good spin on a set kick, you're going to get one. They got one. That's all they've gotten. They've given up one since then. St. Francis leads by 11, matching their largest lead. Mentioned before that the 11 goals that they had scored matched their output from the previous 11 games combined. Well, this matches their output from the previous 13 games combined. They scored 12 goals in a 13-game stretch, and today they've scored 12 goals in a 67-minute stretch. Good ball work pushing down the field from Victor Salou. Saints get it down into the box. Salou right in front of the net, takes a shot. Good save by Sullivan. Second attempt for the Saints, and this one is deflected wide. Silva tried to score his second of the game. Push to the opposite end, out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick. Most of the field is covered in shadows now. Nick DeSandro is the only guy out there who's in the sun. The clock stops at 21 minutes and 45 seconds to attend to the injured player, Giovanni Ramirez Guerrero. Actually, it's not him. Sorry, he's down on the ground, but I think he's just sitting to give himself a rest. The player being tended to is Samuel Sullivan. He's getting his leg taped up. Yeah, Ramirez Guerrero is fine. He just needed to reset, I guess. A lot of guys are sitting right now. Markinson Jordon hasn't even gotten himself back up. So we're ready to continue. Is he injured? No, I don't think so. Just sitting. And now after all that sitting, he needs to tie his shoe. 21:45 on the clock. We're back underway. Throw in for St. Francis, far sideline. And lost out of bounds. We got a goal kick here for Calumet. They play it short. They've been doing that a lot. It's burned them a few times. Specifically, a few moments ago, a very short goal kick was intercepted by Silva. Saints take this one away again. It's Samuel Arroyo getting, I think, his first action of the season. Just called up from the JV, and the Saints put one in the back of the net again. (13-1) is our score with 20 minutes and 56 seconds remaining. So the Saints have now scored 7 times since halftime. That was Anthony Durka's 4th goal of the game. Anders Santamarta's 4th assist of the game. A couple of seniors going out strong on senior day today, their final game of their career. For Durka, 5 goals in his career coming in, 4 goals today. For Santamarta, 6 assists in 4 years coming into today, and he's got 4 assists today. Throw in for Calumet, down in the far corner. Salou misses on the kick, but I think that was Silva who was able to clear it. Knocked to the sideline. That's out of bounds. It'll be a St. Francis possession here as we run down under 20 minutes to play in the game. St. Francis entered play today in 14 games, having scored 17 total goals. They put 13 on the board today. More than half of them in this second half. They have been ultra aggressive in the second half as Silva pushes one towards the net. Samuel Sullivan is able to fall on top of it. Sullivan's had, I think, a deceptively good game. He's allowed 10 goals. 3 of the 13 were given up by Felipe Poblete, who had to come in the first half after Sullivan went out with an injury. Poblete is a forward. He's playing up around midfield right now. But he had to check in when Sullivan went down with an injury. So he allowed 3 of the goals. The other 10 were given up by Sullivan. But like I said, I think a deceptively good game in that he has had the ball constantly in his way. He's made 8 saves. It's a lot of saves. I know his save percentage is under 500, but so many of them have been one-on-one with St. Francis attackers. There's only so much you can do. Fighting Saints have 23 shots on goal today. Calumet's got 1, but it went in. Their first goal of the season. They're in control of the ball right now, trying to add a few more shots. In terms of total shots, just overall, they didn't even have a single one in the first half. They've got a couple here in the second. They've been outshot 41-2. To the far sideline, Calumet trying to set up an attack. Guzman passes back to Ramirez Guerrero, gets it right back. Guzman is the man who scored today. Did it on a free kick just about 20 yards out. There's a shot and a save by DeSandro, his first save of the day. Just the second shot on goal today for Calumet, although they had only 3 in their first 10 games of the season. 2 today. So comparatively, it's been a good game for them. On average this season, they allow 9.5 goals per game. So from that standpoint, it has not been a good game for them. Pushed ahead. Saints stay on sides. It's Santa Marta trying to make a move to his right. Now dribbles back to the left, takes a shot and scores. Why not? He's already got 4 assists. Throw a goal on the board as well. 6-point day for Ander Santa Marta, and the Saints lead 14-1 with 16:51 on the clock. Saints are clearing their bench. We've got Samuel Arroyo in there. I mentioned him a few moments ago, getting his first action on the varsity squad. Rogelio Valles has come in as well. Just the 4th game this year that Valles has appeared in. Mateo Del Bosque is out there. Believe this is the first time that he's seen any action this season. Tony Gia passes it back to Nick DeSandro. Gia back on defense along with Victor Salou. Here's Alvarez. He's got 3 goals this half already. Looking for number 4. Alvarez took it a little bit too far. Here's Ricardo Pinto for Calumet. It's out of bounds. 15:20 on the clock. 13-goal lead for St. Francis. Poblete trying to work around a couple of defenders. Gives it up to Guzman. Lost out of bounds. Quick throw in for St. Francis. Down to the corner, Alvarez looking for the cross. Alvarez shakes the defender, tiptoes along that back line. The ball deflected and right to an open Fighting Saint, who pushes it in again. $15-1. And another goal scored by Pablo Alvarez, who has 4 of them now in the second half. The Fighting Saints have scored 9 goals in the second half of this game. They dominated the first half with a 6-0 lead. Outshooting Calumet 25-0. Seemed like they were on their way to a comfortable win, but it's gotten out of hand here in the second half. 9 goals in 31 minutes. So on average, what is that? Every 3.5 minutes they're scoring one? It feels honestly like more frequently than that. Calumet does have one on the board here as well, so we've seen 10 goals scored in this second half by the two teams combined. Here's Gia stepping up from the defensive line, pushing it ahead, and this time Sullivan's able to step up and scoop that ball into his arms. Sullivan down the sideline, out of bounds on the kick. Throw in St. Francis. Jose Zaragoza tosses it in. Zaragoza is another player who's been out there for a good portion of the second half, who doesn't typically see a lot of playing time. It's only the 3rd game he's played this year. Here comes Samuel Arroyo. Arroyo receives it at the edge of the box. There's his cross, headed wide of the net by Rogelio Valles. Would have been Valles' first goal. It would have been Arroyo's first assist if they had been able to connect. But just a little bit off the mark. And so it remains 15-1. 12 minutes, 20 seconds remain. Here's Damptey. Damptey, an individual run, tiptoeing around a couple of guys. Keeps the play alive for Calumet. Push down the field for Jordone. Markson Jordone trying to track it down, but Victor Salou got there first. Flores cuts it back to his right. He's in the middle of the field. Crosses over to the other side, and his pass out a little bit too far in front of everybody. It goes out the backside. It'll be a goal kick for Calumet. 11.5 minutes to play. So the Fighting Saints lost their last game 10-0. Today on the positive side, with 15 goals on the board, they had scored 17 goals all year in 14 games. So there's still a chance that they could match their entire season's goal total just today. Foul is called on the Fighting Saints here. They have outshot Calumet so far 44-3. Shots on goal 27-2. They've taken 10 corner kicks. None for the Crimson Wave. Arroyo is offsides. It feels like Calumet has pushed their defense up considerably here in this second half. I think that's a big part of the reason that the Saints have been able to add so many goals, scoring 9 times in just over a half hour. I think the Crimson Wave were playing a little bit more conservatively early in this game, keeping the defense back, just trying to protect their goalkeeper. Here in the second half, they've kind of thrown caution to the wind. Their back line has been up near midfield for a lot of the day, and so there have been a number of plays that have been close to being offsides as Salou wrestles the ball away from Damptey and keeps it down the sideline for the Fighting Saints. Taken away, though, by Pinto. Pinto's ball is deflected. Jose Zaragoza got in front of that. Zaragoza still in front of it, and he keeps the play alive, coming down the near side of the field, looking to clear it for the Fighting Saints. He's able to do just that. And now the Saints on the counter. Push it ahead, and St. Francis has good positioning here. They're playing 5-on-2 on this side of the field. Here's Victor Salou, and Salou scores for the first time today. He makes it 16-1. And that plays exactly into what I was just talking about. They've been so aggressive, Calumet that is, pushing guys down the field rather than keeping their defense back the way they did in the first half. Every time St. Francis takes it away, there have been a lot of plays that have been close to being offsides, and Calumet hasn't gotten the call. Saints have been timing their runs really well. Once they do, I can't count the number of times this half that the Saints have just gotten completely behind the Calumet defense. And that time, they weren't completely behind, but the Crimson Wave only had 2 defenders back. Saints continued to run in the midfield, and all of a sudden you've got 5-on-2. There's no way with that 5-on-2 advantage you're not going to score there. Calumet takes a shot, and that's just a little bit wide. Felipe Poblete nearly put in the second goal of the season for the Crimson Wave. That's their 4th shot today. They had 3 shots all season coming into today, so they're doing some positive things offensively. But those positive things are coming at the expense of their defense. I haven't watched this team play this year, so I can't speak to how well they've been playing or the style they've been playing today compared to the rest of the season. But even just first half to the second half, it seems like they've put so much more of an emphasis on the offense that it's really hurting them defensively. And maybe at that point, Emilio Calvillo is just thinking, hey, we're already down 6-0 at halftime. What's the worst that can happen? Clock continues to run at 7.5 minutes as Samuel Sullivan is shaken up again. That's the reason for the delay right now. Sullivan is being helped off the field, and with a 15-goal difference, they are not stopping the clock for the injury. So we'll see how this gets sorted out if Poblete comes back in to play goalkeeper again, or if it's Greg Guzman this time, or if, less likely, they just decide to play with an empty net for the final 7 minutes. My guess would be Poblete again, because we saw him in the first half. But it actually doesn't look like it. It looks like Jeremy Diaz is the guy who's throwing on his white jersey. Wait to see if I can get a better look, but I thought that was number 0, and that would be Diaz. He has not played goalie before, but why not give him a shot? Last game of the year, down by 15, 6 minutes to go. I guess you're taking volunteers at this point. And just to get back to the point I was making about Calumet, they've been playing much more aggressively, and they've gotten results that way in that they've scored a goal. They've taken 4 shots this half, 2 of them on goal. Just to reiterate those numbers, through their first 10 games, they took 11 total shots. They've got 4 of them today. Through 10 games, they had taken 3 total shots on goal. They've got 2 of them today. And through 10 games, they had scored 0 goals. They've got 1 today. All of those numbers came in the second half. Diaz dives on top of that deflection from Pablo Alvarez. Alvarez was looking for a 5th goal this half. Diaz instead was able to make the catch. A save for Diaz. That'll always go on his college stat sheet. A defender by trade, playing goalkeeper in a pinch here today. Santa Marta takes a shot. Another save for Diaz. It looked pretty good on that one. He may have a little goalkeeping experience somewhere in his past. So Calumet has certainly had the best offensive half that they've ever had, with the numbers that I just went over, but St. Francis has as well. They've scored 10 goals this half. Nearly had another one right there. Damptey was able to step up defensively. Now another shot, and Diaz watches that one go wide to the left and out of bounds for a goal kick. So that's the risk you always take when you push up the offensive pressure, or you maybe leaving your defense out to dry a little bit. And that's kind of what Calumet, I think, has done here. This is a team that obviously is not good defensively to begin with, having allowed 95 goals through 10 games through the season. So the numbers are kind of relative. You have to consider what they've done compared to what they've done before. Is taking 4 shots and a half really all that impressive? Maybe not for a lot of teams, but for a team that has only taken 11 all year, then yeah, it's a pretty good half. Saints trying to add to their lead yet again. Santa Marta was offsides. St. Francis obviously playing their best game with 16 goals scored today. I'd have to look through the archives, see if they've ever done that. They have changed up the lineup quite a bit here in the second half. 3 minutes to play. They've brought in a number of guys who either have not seen action this year or who have not seen much action. But the guys who are on the field, they have not taken their foot off the gas pedal at all. Alvarez passes off to his left. It's Santa Marta, who's had a huge game today. Huge second half. So is Alvarez. Pass right to the top of the box. The shot goes a little bit too high from Jesus Flores. Corner kick here for the Fighting Saints. There's a shot in the goal. And that's Mateo Del Bosque scoring for the first time. The junior out of Brother Rice High School. Makes it 17-1 with the clock continuing to run now with the blowout score. Under 2 minutes to play. Clock running down to a minute and a half now. Down to the corner, kept in bounds by Arroyo. Arroyo rifles it across to the other side of the field and out of bounds along the end line. It's a goal kick. Calumet could take their time if they wanted to, but they're going. Crimson Wave will try to mount one last offensive attack. Under a minute to play in the game. Taken down deep into the box, right in front of the net. DeSandro shadowing it, and he lets it roll to the back line. Stayed in bounds. Salou clears it for St. Francis. That should do it as far as Calumet is concerned. Do the Saints have time, and do they want to make a push for one more goal here? Looks like they're going to try. Looking for number 18. There's the shot, knocked into the air and caught by Jeremy Diaz with 15 seconds to go. That should do it. Diaz can take a few seconds off the clock before sending this one away. And it looks like this one will come to an end with a final score of 17-1. St. Francis over Calumet St. Joseph. The final buzzer sounds. What a wild game today. It was 6-0 at halftime. If it stayed at the same pace, it would have been quite a game for St. Francis. They scored 11 goals in the second half. Calumet St. Joseph can hang their hats at least on the fact that they got one. It was their first goal of the season. And for the first time this year, they were able to celebrate scoring despite the fact that they were down 11 at the time. St. Francis added 6 more goals after that to wrap things up. I don't know where to begin going over some of the statistics. Some incredible numbers today for St. Francis players. In the first half, Edward Luna had a goal and 3 assists. I thought, there's your player of the game right there just for one half of soccer. But some other guys had enormous second halves. Anthony Durka finished today with 4 goals. Anders Santamarta had 2 of them, 4 assists. Alvarez, 3 goals, 2 assists. They also got goals from Esparza, Silva. Gia scored the first one way back at the beginning of the first half. Soto scored. Salou scored. Luna got the 1. Nicholas DeSandro scored a goal as well. DeSandro, the goalkeeper, didn't quite get the shutout. He did have 1 save today in the win as goalkeeper, but he also scored a goal coming up in the first half on a penalty kick. Final score again, 17-1, and that does it for St. Francis here in 2024 as they wrap up their season with a record of 5-8-2. They get 1 in conference play. They had been 0-7-2 coming in, but back on the board with the win, their first victory since September 7th on a non-conference game against Concordia. Their final CCAC record, 1 win, 7 losses, and 2 ties. Calumet falls to 0-11 overall, 0-10 in conference play as both teams conclude their season. St. Francis's women's soccer team will still play on. They've got a conference tournament coming up, so make sure to go to GoFightingSaints.com for continued updates on St. Francis soccer and St. Francis athletics in general. Thanks for tuning into this one. St. Francis beats Calumet St. Joseph by a final score of 17-1. Until next time, Terry Bonadonna signing off from Joliet, Illinois. Have a good night.